I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All 6 of them.
Who are you?
Starring Kevin Costner, a magical and moving ride.
Absolutely wonderful.
It was a really good fantasy.
Really phenomenal.
And Roger Ebert calls it completely original and visionary. So perfect, it's like a miracle.
This is really interesting.
It was great. It gave me goosebumps.
Kevin Costner, Field of Dreams, rated PG. Now playing in select areas. Starts tomorrow at theaters everywhere.
Hey, this is Matt once again. Welcome back to another video, and this is another paid request, this time for JS. Thank you so much. If anyone wants to send in a request for pretty much any type of video, you just send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both things are down below in the info box. And this is for the film Field of Dreams. Now, Field of Dreams came out in 1989 and was a surprise hit because it's not often that a more quiet film of this nature becomes that much of a hit, and usually you think that's going to be a big special effects movie, nowadays be a superhero movie, but this was a movie that, as I think Roger Ebert called it, kind of like a film that Frank Capra would have directed. A very sweet, easygoing film. I don't want to say a quiet film, but a low-key movie about if you believe in the impossible, the incredible can come true, as the tagline says. Because Kevin Costner has a wife and a daughter, and one day he's out in the field and he keeps hearing this voice, if you build it, he will come. If you build it, he will come. And it's like, what the hell does this mean? If you build it, he will come. But then, really what it becomes is a modern fairy tale. Of being able to work out your differences with your dad, baseball, and maybe in a way knowing that in a way you're in heaven with your family. That things are actually good. Because this is a guy that, at first he's like, oh, I'm not sure. I didn't get to do anything special. You know, I love my wife, I love my kid, but I didn't get to do anything that big, outrageous, monumental. Well, there's his chance. And then realizing that, you know what, his wife and kid, being on this beautiful farm, that's where it's at, honestly. And it's a very sweet, dare I say, magical movie. Takes place in Iowa, which is funny, because I was born and grew up in Iowa. And pretty much what happens throughout the film is he gets the idea to cut down the corn and build this baseball field, which of course people think he's crazy, using all the finances, their savings to get this baseball field done. Seems like nothing's working. Then one day this character, Shoeless Joe Jackson, played by Ray Liotta, he comes in. Is this heaven? No, it's Iowa. And I thought Kevin Costner did a really good job in the lead. He had the everyman quality, and you bought into his reactions of being so surprised and shocked, but not overdoing it, not going too over the top and silly and ridiculous with it. I thought the wife, played by Amy Madigan, she worked very well with Kevin Costner. She was supportive. Like when they see that, he's like, we're keeping this farm, we're keeping this baseball field. And she's like, you bet your ass we are. But yeah, I like that she was such a... They didn't do the whole... She's like, nee, 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 nee. And he's like, no, 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 wait. Nee, 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 nee. No, wait. It's true. Nee, 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 nee. They didn't make her the hen-petting, annoying housewife. They didn't do that. Instead, they reserved that for her brother, played by Timothy Busfield. And Timothy Busfield seemed... I mean, I know it's based on a book, so I'm sure he was in the book. But it's like, okay, we gotta have some kind of friction. We gotta have some kind of pushback. So it's Timothy Busfield who wants to buy the farm because, hey, you guys are gonna lose it. This is a good deal. Take the deal. And, well, he's not gonna buy the farm, but hey, I know someone's gonna buy it. Hey, you're gonna be destitute if you don't do this. But it definitely has a nice old school flavor to it. Old school meaning films that would have been made back in the day of the It's a Wonderful Life, that era. The score by James Horner, may he rest in peace. I like James Horner as a composer. I mean, Aliens is one of my favorite scores of all time. He's done a lot of great work. Glory. This is another solid effort by James Horner. And the rest of the cast, you have James Earl Jones as this recluse who Kevin Costner is guided to talk to and bring back and sort of convince him about what's really going on. Also, Bert Lancaster, in his last role before he passed away. Bert Lancaster, very established actor at the time. I'm not sure if people nowadays know who Bert Lancaster is, but if you look him up, he did a ton of movies back in the day. And there he is right there. Again, as Kevin Costner sort of guided to pick up a few folks and bring them back, or other stuff. And while I'm not into baseball, like I don't watch baseball, I don't mind baseball movies, like Major League. I love Major League. In this movie, I think because at one point, well, they take a baseball game, or even when more and more ghosts appear on this baseball field, it's like, let's take the boring parts of it out with editing. And you just see the highlights. Like, when you see the highlights of baseball, it's a rather exciting game. But for me, just me personally, when I watch a full baseball game, a lot of times I get bored. That's just me. But again, with a movie, when you see the highlights, and it works with the editing. And I agree, a heartwarming experience. Good for the whole family. I forgot what this was rated. I think, yeah, PG. It says they're PG. There's really nothing language-wise, violence-wise, nudity, like, there's nothing really to affect any type of higher rating, like PG-13 or let alone R. It's not that kind of flick. It's a feel-good movie. It's a great feel-good movie, especially in the times that we live in now. So it was watching this again brought a smile to my face. And the end where he gets to have catch with his dad, and that seemed like one of the culminations of this is you being able to make peace with his dad. And also to bring people a little bit of the magic that maybe they've been missing as their lives turn much more serious, much more oppressive, much more adulting, as some people fucking say with the word. I never heard the word before, but apparently that's a word, adulting. I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? Acting like a grown-up. Oh, okay. First I've heard of that. The actors do their jobs well. I mean, James Earl Jones, great established actor. Kevin Costner, he doesn't do a whole lot nowadays. Once in a while, he was in, that film Criminal, which was disappointing. Dragonfly, well, Dragonfly was like 20 years ago, so. But yeah, Criminal, there was that film, 3 Days to a Kill or something. But he doesn't do a whole lot. It's Kevin Costner nowadays, his voice, I don't know if that's old age, or was from smoking cigarettes, or something else happened, but his voice, like Nick Nolte type of voice, which is too bad. Because I like Kevin Costner. The Untouchables, that's a good one. And No Way Out, I saw that. That's a decent flick. And I think he was one of the people up for The Hunt for Red October, which I think would have worked. I don't mind Alec Baldwin, but I think Kevin Costner would have been even better instead of Alec Baldwin. Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves, I remember enjoying. So he's one of those actors that, sadly, I think what happened, because he got success with Dancing with Wolves, the ego went into check because, no, I'm going to direct movies, so then him battling the director Kevin Reynolds on Waterworld, which I like Waterworld. I don't hate it like other people do. Especially, I would say I like the longer cut even better. I think it's called the Ulysses cut. And then The Postman. The Postman, I was going to say The Postman killed his career. But he did films afterward, but The Postman was such a boring fucking movie. One of his worst films, in my opinion, The Postman. Not his worst film, I would say The New Daughter. Really crappy, nothing horror film. Dragonfly, I think, is a bit underrated. Supernatural drama. Which they market like a horror film, but it's not a horror film at all. It's more of a sweeter, like, supernatural drama. Dragonfly, yeah, I think it's underrated. But anyway, get back to this. It's one of those films that is directed by Phil Alden Robinson. And he did a very solid job. That's the same guy who would go on to direct Sneakers, which I love Sneakers. That's an underrated film with Robert Redford and Sidney Poitier and what's his name? River Phoenix. Sneakers is great. I don't think he directed a whole lot of movies though after that, which is too bad. And Phil Alden Robinson wrote and directed this. And he really just, again, captured that sort of whimsical, fantastical sweetness of the story. Of, par youth, they man, it'd be cool to experience this. And it really culminates in James Earl Jones' speech, which I'll probably end this on, because it's a great speech. And this type of speech really signifies the movie. Like I said, if you haven't seen it, or you haven't seen it for a while, I don't want to give a whole lot away. It's a very sweet movie. Heartwarming is the best way to put it. And I don't know if the Blu-ray has these features, but this DVD has quite a bit of features. There's a commentary with the director. It has a making of with interviews with Kevin Costner and James Earl Jones and other folks. I don't think the original title was Field of Dreams. The original title was Shoeless Joe. Field of Dreams is a lot better title. Much better title. But yeah, the speech, James Earl Jones, where he sort of, when they're doubting if this can happen, what are we doing, what's the whole point of this? And so James Earl Jones is talking to Kevin Costner, he's saying, Ray, people will come, Ray. They'll come to Iowa for reasons they can't even fathom. They'll turn up your driveway not knowing for sure why they're doing it. They'll arrive at your door as innocent as children, longing for the past. Of course we won't mind if you look around, you'll say. It's only $20 per person. They'll pass over the money without even thinking about it. For it is money they have and peace they lack. They'll walk out to the bleachers set in shirt sleeves on a perfect afternoon. They'll find that they have reserved seats somewhere along one of the baselines where they sat when they were children and cheered their heroes. And they'll watch the game. It will be as if they dipped themselves in magic waters. The memories will be so thick they'll have to brush them away from their faces. People will come, Ray. The one constant through all the years, Ray, has been baseball. Measures rolled by like an army of steamrollers. It's been erased like a blackboard, rebuilt, and erased again. But baseball has marked the time. This field, this game, it's part of our past, Ray. It reminds us of all that once was good, and it could be again. Oh, people will come, Ray. People will most definitely come.